You're listening to the Low Pressure Podcast, the podcast for skiers.
Presented by CMH Heli Skiing and Peak Performance.
Cheers.
All right. At it. So we've been talking for about 3 or 4 hours. What are we going to talk about now?
I don't know. You are the podcaster.
All right. So
ship sailor.
How much money do you make?
Not that much. No. You got to start with a different one.
I wasn't going to ask you that question, but you're like, all right, let's go. We ran out of everything to talk about. Yeah, me either.
It's a sad road. We'll keep it lighter and happier.
If I could work in the ski industry, you could make literally hundreds of dollars.
Yeah. Yeah, you sure can.
You can get a lot of free beer and have some good times, meet some good people, though.
Yeah.
Good to have you back, man. You're in Whistler.
Mm-hmm.
You what are you doing? Tell me that'll lead up like 10 minutes.
Yeah. It's good to be back. It's been a couple of years since coming through the border. We're doing a little Rossi team shoot up in Braylorn. So just came up here, Friedel Cody and Parker, to meet some buddies, Tatum and Logan Peyoda and Blake Jorgensen. We're going to go do a little sledding and just kind of do some shredding and yeah.
Rossi product shoot, so it's like next year's skis and next year's outerwear and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Are you on the Rossi outerwear?
I am, yeah.
Yeah?
Head to toe.
Is it nice?
Yeah, it's pretty dope.
Pockets are all in the right place?
Yeah.
Do you get any info like, hey man, like this needs to be this way or this needs to be here?
Yeah, we can kind of just try to put our feedback, whether that's heard or not.
I was going to say, did you feel like they listened to you? Like you're like, hey, what about this? And they're like, yeah, cool, man. All right, cool. Thanks for calling us. All right, take it easy. We'll talk to you later.
I tell them what I think, and it's in their hands from there. Yeah, the gear's been pretty sick.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been in it. I think this is like my third year.
On the gear as well? You've been on Rossi skis for forever, right?
Yeah, I've been on the hard goods side for somewhere between 15 and 20 years.
Yeah, wow.
Yep. Yeah.
That's insane. Like, are you like the longest? Think you're like one of the longest tenured free skiers or free riders?
You
and Parker?
Both Parker and I got on at the same time, and yeah, I think we're kind of right around the corner from like creeping on 20 years.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
it's just
kind of unheard of
like
nowadays. I feel like.
So are you like a lot of tenants when they rent a house and then they sign like a 1-year lease and then it's like month to month after, or like year to year, or are you actually like signing like multi-year contracts, or are you going to year contracts? Like at this stage in the game, or is it just it's understood that you're like, okay, we're down, you guys are down, okay, let's just keep it rolling?
I think for me personally, the entire time I've been with them have been 1-year contracts.
Really wild.
It would be
21
year
contracts.
It'd be sweet to fucking do a longer deal, but I'm also not too worried about it, man. They've always had my back, so like it really is like not like how like, oh, I have to perform this year because if I don't, they're not gonna sign me back. Like I don't have that thought is never really like crossed, because I just like go and do what I do. I work with awesome people there, and so they like trust that, you know, I'm gonna go do my thing, and I do, and every year the contract keeps coming back, so just trying to keep that one going as long as possible.
That's awesome. So is it like,
that's sweet.
So what time of year does this come? Is it like a phone call that you know every year at a certain time? You're like, hey, is this the phone call? Yeah, we're good. Yeah, we're good. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Is it like in March? Is it like a November thing?
No, it's usually like end of the summer, maybe like in August, kind of getting things figured out, and then try to get the contract signed in like a September-ish, early fall.
Yeah, and it's usually the same sort of process every year. Hey, you're down? Yeah, we're in. Same thing. Okay, let's go.
Yeah, at this point, it's been so long, it's pretty much just like the same thing. You kind of know what the contract's going to say, and it's just like another year. Sweet. Yeah, let's go.
Has it been pretty consistent for the entire time? Like, you know how much money you're going to get. You're happy with that.
Yeah.
You know how to budget that within your life. And
Totally.
It's like, I'm fine with this. You're
Yeah.
fine with this. Okay. Yeah, we're good.
I know the month their checks are coming in and money's good. It's been good. That's, another reason too. Not like going to seek anybody else out because they take care of me, and so it's
consistency and not having to track people down and be like, hey, can I get this? Like, where's the payment? Like, what's the...
And that's always huge too, especially like, you hear the stories in the ski industry that people like are either told they're gonna get their money, and it sometimes is like pulling teeth. Things don't show up on time.
Right.
You have to like 6 months later hound people with emails like,
hey, you shouldn't have to do that, right? Like,
Yeah.
I signed a contract. This is our agreement.
yeah, hold up on your end of the bargain.
Yeah,
and
just-
it's never been like that. So it's never been like, I need to go search out something better. It's like, no, that's good. They're on time. Everything it's smooth sailing, which is like, yeah, let's keep it going. This is awesome.
Too easy.
Creeping on 20 years, like, yeah.
That's pretty, man. That's a pretty
Let's
impressive.
go 25, 30. Let's keep going.
I would like Douglas was on the show. I released it today, so whenever this releases, it may have been last week or 2 weeks ago. And he was talking about he's been with Solomon for like 25 years. I'm like, are they going to give you a gold watch? Like, are you getting a gold watch for like, are you getting a pension on that as well? You should check into that. I'd be like, yeah, does we have a pension fund with this, or
Yeah.
are retiring on the fucking Rossi pension plan?
Yeah.
But that's pretty amazing. And even like Macintosh a few weeks ago as well was like really talking about how he finds it's so important to have consistency with his sponsors, because he's my age, he's like pushing 40, if not 40. I think he's 40 already, right? And he's like, at my age, like, I don't expect to be a pro skier anymore. I'm like, I'm aging out of this thing, so I'm transitioning to like my guiding career and that sort of thing. But at the same time, I have these lifelong partnerships with these brands, so that even though I may not be making the contract money like I used to, or like some of the younger riders would deserve to get that money, I'm still going to have a connection. I'm going to be able to get skis for myself, skis for my family.
Totally.
I have these partners, rather than jumping from ski brand to ski brand every 2 or 3 years and finding a new contractor, a new sponsor, and dealing with that, and like, figuring out the relationship with them and whatever. It's like, I've got these people that I've been with for 20 years.
Yeah.
And it's going to keep going whether I'm skiing professionally or not. Like, I know that I have some base layers, and I know I can get a pair of skis for me and my family. So that's pretty awesome. And it's pretty rare too. Like, I can't think of too many. There's obviously like a handful for sure. That's pretty rad.
It says a lot about kind of like both parties too, like just the commitment that both have to each other, and then, about the individual, like the skier, like you're saying, some of those dudes, like, just like creating that friendship, that bond or whatever between you and the company and whoever's like in charge there, and the loyalty that each side has to one another. And yeah, it's sweet.
And like you said, it does speak a lot to not just the company, but it goes deeper to the people that were within the company, right? Because you could have some just person without using pejoratives or like shit talk or anything, but there's maybe someone you don't agree with, or you don't like their style, or maybe the guy that you've been dealing with for 3 or 4 years has decided to move on to something different, and you've got someone brand new who comes in and they just rub you the wrong way, and you're like, oh, I gotta get out of here. So you're right, that definitely does. Have you been working with the same team the whole time, or has it like shifted?
No, it's switched up a little bit. When we had first gotten on, there was this dude Paddy Kaye, who is actually from around here. I don't know if you know Paddy.
I know Paddy Kaye. He's a trail builder.
Yep.
He was. We had him on the Brett Tippie podcast, one of the other shows that I produce, and he came on and talked about. He was one of the first guys that like built the Whistler Bike Park.
Yeah.
Do you know his history with like?
I've heard a bit about that, and like
yeah,
with some of the big, is it like
Joyride? So basically, he started Joyride,
Yeah.
which was a precursor to Crankworks, which is the biggest mountain bike festival in the world.
Yeah.
And he basically was kind of like one of the first guys to kind of get that ball started. And then he did mention that he was like a ski rep and stuff.
Yeah.
And I didn't really press him too much on that, just because we were doing the mountain bike podcast.
Yeah.
But yeah, Paddy Kaye, so he was your guy for a while.
So like when we first got on at like 14 years old, 13, 14, something like that. He was like our first real, like, I think he was like the North American team manager at that point. So we dealt with him for a few years there. We were actually kind of, just because we were like the Grom side of things, and I guess dealing like with more of the like regional person, we were dealing with this dude Matt Ream from Vermont, but Paddy was like
his boss.
Yeah, and so then for coming up, we did like, just kind of going through everything. I guess getting towards like the end of high school, kind of started dealing with Paddy for like a good maybe like year or two, maybe a little bit more, and then he ended up moving on. And then Matt Ream, who was like our regional guy, became the team manager, and so it was like really dope. And then Matt Ream was the team manager there for so long, and so it was just like dealing with him. He's an awesome dude and a homie.
You know, since you were 15, you're like, oh, we're good.
Yeah. And I think up until like a couple of years back, he ended up moving on and going on to Armada. So we had dealt with him for a really long time, and he's just like super cool dude, one of our best buddies.
Yeah.
Been to his wedding, know his wife, he's
your family,
he's the man,
yeah.
Exactly.
You've known him since you're 14 years old.
Yeah,
started,
totally.
Right?
We did, grew up, kind of with him, and learned so much from him, like industry stuff, and so he's like super cool to learn from, and so that was really cool. And
so when he moved on, we were like, ooh, do you know was there like a natural transition of someone you knew that was working under him?
Matt Biebs is now the new team manager.
And Matt to Matt?
Matt to Matt, exactly. And Biebs was kind of working under Ream for a couple of years there, kind of leading up to this, so we'd gotten to kind of get to know him and do some stuff with him, and so the transition was mellow. And then a bunch of other people who we deal with, they're based out of Park City, so going to Park City in the office, and just a bunch of the other people we've worked with have been there either in different roles or been there for a while, and so it's all good. It's
gravy.
It's really cool.
That's really awesome to hear, because it's funny, like you and Parker are guys that have just always, you have that, like, I don't know, you just seem like I don't even know how to say it. It's like you're just there. You just coast. You do your thing. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. You're not stepping outside of your zone. Mm-hmm. Right? You're always just kind of within your little groove. You guys do what you do, and you've always done what you've done. You don't extend outwards. You just, what you see is what you get, and what you understand from you guys is what you expect and what you're gonna get all the time. You know what I mean? Which is a good thing.
Yeah.
there's some people that try
Consistent.
to do. Yes. We have been drinking all day.
I was like, where are you going with
this,
Mark?
Thanks for helping me out with this. I'm trying to create some drama and see if you come up and be like, what are you trying to say, man? Yeah. What are you saying?
Yeah.
No, but like consistency, that's a perfect way of saying it, is like with you and Parker, like you guys are two of the best skiers in the world. You're not super flashy. You know what I mean? Like you're not trying to go out and do anything and be anybody that you're not.
Totally.
You know what I mean? And you just stay within your little bubble, for the lack of a better word, right? They're consistent, right? You do what you do, you know what you're going to get, and it's always good, right? And I think that is really appealing. I would think that's appealing to companies like, Rossi, where they're like, all right, yeah, cool. These guys, we know what our ROI is on these guys. Yeah. We know that they're good dudes. We know that they're going to go out, they're going to work hard, they're going to do what they do, and we're going to get what we expect to get.
Yeah.
Awesome. Right? It's not like anybody's expecting you to do more than what's expected, right? They're like, okay, we want you to go and we want you to like build a jump and like
something not so natural.
Yeah, we want you to go jump the world's largest igloo or some shit in front of like a crowd.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or
totally.
some weird shit that you're like,
yeah,
what are you talking about? You know what I mean? You're not going to go out of your way to do something spectacular or ridiculous because it doesn't fit your style, doesn't fit your
totally
your MO. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So maybe that's what I'm trying to get, is like that consistency is appealing, whereas a lot of people try to that maybe don't have that consistency of a partner will go, and like they're always, you know, maybe those people that maybe have a 2-year contract and they move to like 3 years and they move. They're always trying to maybe prove themselves or make sure that they can show their value or show their worth. Where you've just kind of found this groove where you're like, this is what we do. This is what you're gonna get.
Yeah.
Take it or leave it.
I think it's sweet because, yeah, there's not like it's like, you know, every year it's like, oh, well, what's your plan? It's not like, oh, I'm working on this new, like, they kind of let us go. They don't like try to steer us in any which way. You know, they just want to help in any way possible. Right. And, you know, we're kind of just like, yeah, man, this is what we want to do. We just want to keep going and sledding and skiing POW and, you know, whatever terrain we come across that is enjoyable to us, and then we're going to film it, and it's going to get put out in one way or another. Exactly. And so it's like, you know, that it's always been fine by them, which is sweet. It's like we have all the opportunity, and they're not like, hey, you should go film with these people.
They don't micromanage.
That like you have never filmed with before, but it would be like a cool story. It's like I just want to go film my friends, and like we get things done. And
so when you go and do these film projects, like I know you filmed with like Jossie and Torin for the DV8 segments last year. You do obviously a lot of filming with like Level 1 when Level 1 was doing their full movies, which I'm sure might have been a bit of a transition for you when Josh was like, hey, we're not doing a yearly movie anymore. Actually, let me ask you about that. What was like your thought process with that? You're like, oh shit, I gotta find something else to do this season?
I don't know. It was just kind of like fully understandable after them doing like 20 years of it. So it was like, oh, he wants to switch things up. Like, yeah, no doubt. The fact that you made it this far is incredible. Like,
incredible.
Yeah, man. He's got a wife now and a son, and they got another kid coming. So it's like, yeah, you got to switch things up.
Heart surgery like a year or so ago.
Yeah,
which
totally.
Is wild. I know he's been working on that Trevor Kennison project.
Yep.
2-year project. COVID turned it into
and then
probably
they still
a 3-year project.
Work, you know, like producing and helping out with like Parker's project and Mango stuff with Brady, and like have their hands in a lot of other things. But it was just like, all right, yeah, so this is the last like hoorah. We kind of all knew that, so kind of just went in on that one, and then afterwards it was like, all right, figure out what's next. But there's still a lot of opportunities out there. You just gotta, you know, figure out. And so for me,
you just call up a couple of buddies and be like, hey, what are you guys doing this year? What are you doing? Can I tag along?
Yeah, I think that was the year I went and filmed with Henrik, and I think that was him and Raph who had approached me, because they had actually talked with me and Parker the year before about possibly linking up with Henrik for the first year, because it was a 2-year project, and that was the last year of the Level 1.
For Salute, right? His Salute film?
Exactly.
Which is fucking badass.
Yeah, that one came out real good. I was stoked to be a part of. But, yeah, they had tried hitting us up that last Level 1 film year, and we were like, oh, we're kind of going to dedicate our year to filming for this. And then, yeah, when they were doing the second year, kind of just talked to him, and so that opportunity came up, and it's like, yeah, just there are people doing things, and like, who have you crossed paths with? Who are your friends with?
Yeah.
You're talking in the off season, like, what are you doing?
It's cool because you and Parker are kind of these guys that like are welcomed everywhere. You know what I mean? Like, you may not have anything going on specifically, but you can be like, hey, what are you guys doing? Hey, what are you guys doing? Everyone's be like, oh yeah, sick, yeah, let's go, come join us.
Pretty sweet.
Do you know what I mean? Like, you're that level of skiing. Like, people know you guys know what you're doing. Mm-hmm. You're not going to be a liability on a shoot or on any, like, you know, if like some shit goes down, you're going to be the one that gets people out of it. You know what I mean?
So yeah.
Right. So you like rock solid. So we got excellent skiers. They're rad dudes. Mm-hmm. They're going to be an addition rather than a liability. Yeah. Fuck yeah, we're going to get this guy on the shoot.
Bring some positives to the crew.
So you like, and that's where that consistency, where you would mention before, mm-hmm. the right word is consistency, is like, you can pretty much approach anybody at any time and be like, hey, what are you doing? Like, but most of the time, I'm sure people approach you and be like, "Hey, you want to join us?" But if you needed to, you'd be like, "Hey, I'm going to be in this zone. Are you guys filming? Can I join you for an afternoon?"
I think it's just like figuring out who you want to hang out with for the season,
Yeah,
and
right.
like
You could
Or
literally,
that's
you could
how
probably
I
literally
kind of
go from
approach it.
zone to zone to zone and just call whoever lives in that area at that given time, and then like next fall being like 80% of all the movies that are like released. I think that would be hilarious. You should do that. Have a shot in like 8 or 10 different films in the fall. Be like CeeLo takes over the ski industry.
just like fucking late 2000s Lil Wayne featured on everybody's thing.
Everybody's thing. Exactly. Have you ever like, as we talked about obviously on the last episode, everybody knows you and Parker have known each other since you were kids. You grew up together, you're best buds. Have you ever considered just doing your own project? Is you and Parker? I know you've kind of done
I think
stuff.
that's kind of what like the big picture stuff was. It was like
I guess
him and
so.
I, and then just bringing in other buddies who we like to ski with and who
Sorry,
like
you're
to
right.
hang out with and add stuff. And that was then like Duncan Adams and T-Rains and whoever other buddies who wanted to come shred and we could get to come shred. Like early days was like Downey and Adam DeLorme and even just like little bits of them. But that's kind of like what that project was.
That's right. Yeah. Sorry, pardon me for not remembering that. 'Cause your brother shot that too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we've been drinking all day.
Yeah. Sean shot and edited and pretty much everything other than the skiing to make that all happen. He was the guy.
Are there going to be like another big picture round 3? You think? Down the road?
I mean, never say never, but
maybe when you got in like 3 or 4 years, when you guys are like pushing 40 and you're a little bit older, and you're like, let's just do our own shit. Because what's funny is Parker and Friedel are kind of doing their own weird shit, the fucking snowboard. But it's awesome. Like people love it.
Yeah.
But it really is the core of let's just do our own shit.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. How come you didn't strap on a board and join them?
They're doing their own shit, man. It's cool. I think too, like it was like after being together for so long, it was good. It's always good to take a break and like
refresh.
Yeah, I enjoy watching all that and having not seen any of it, and I think it's good. It's healthy for all parties. So who knows what's down the road.
So we were hoping. I was hoping to get him on here. I was talking to Schmuck.
Yeah.
We were just talking about Schmuck, and I knew you guys are coming up for your Rossi thing, and I'm like, I'm gonna try and get CeeLo and Parker on the same podcast. And Schmuck was like, "Oh, yeah, that's gonna be good. That's gonna be good." So I was like, kept texting you guys. And
yeah.
Parker's been a ghost. He's this weird enigma ghost. So he's been living in North Van for, I guess, the summer and fall. I mean, he came out for IF3, and Schmuck's like, "Did you know Parker's here? He watched the whole thing." I'm like, "What?
Yeah.
He's here?" And then we went to the party afterwards. Like, Parker was at the party. He was sitting on the thing. I'm like, "What?"
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I barely saw him. And then I called him up one day, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm just in North Van." I'm like, "Shit, man, let's like hang out." So I called him again. He's like, "No, I'm in Baker now." And then I called him the other day. He's like, "No, I'm over in the Kootenays."
Yeah.
I'm like, right?
Yeah.
It's funny, but I wanted to get him on there because I wanted to like pick each other's brains and be like, what do you have to say about him and what do you have to say about him, and go back and forth, because you guys have been knowing each other for so long.
Totally.
So do you think being on the show you would each give something up, or would you protect each other to the point where like, nah, we're good, we're not gonna, or you're gonna push each other's buttons and tease each other a little bit like bros, you know what I mean, to a certain level? But
yeah, I don't know, like, I mean, you won't get the dirt of the dirt, but
as soon as this microphone turns off,
that's my brother, man.
I love it.
He's the baddest. But
I love it.
No, I don't know. It's entertaining when you get us around each other, obviously, but we have a good time. But yeah, I don't know, man.
I wanted to talk to you about you've got a lot of Olympic connections as well. Your lady is an Olympic gold medalist.
Yep.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And your sister is a silver medalist in halfpipe. And she slopestyle.
Yep.
And she just got added to the team for the Olympics coming up next month.
Yeah.
2-3 weeks kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe 2 out or something like
right?
that.
Do you like talk to her a lot about that? Does she ever like? Cause you were both successful skiers, but in two very different venues.
Yeah.
And do you ever like find common ground to talk about and be like, hey, this is actually quite similar, my situation and your situation, or like, do you have insight for her that she may not have, and vice versa?
I mean, yeah, it's all skiing, and I come from a competitive background growing up, doing some half pipe and slopestyle stuff as well. And just like watching contests on TV and stuff. I'll just throw out whether she wants to hear it or not. Just my 2 cents and things that I see of her skiing and stuff like that, where I think, could try to help her out. Mm-hmm. Sometimes a little tougher than maybe she'd like to hear, and then
because you're the brother, though, you can be a little harsher rather than like a coach or whatever, right? Does she accept that, or does she just like kind of brush it off and be like, "No, you're wrong," or is it like?
No, I think like she's used to it. She knows like my style, and like it all comes from a good place. Like it all comes from love and care and want to see her do
you're not,
well. I wouldn't be saying it if I didn't give a shit.
You're not telling her to hear yourself speak. You're telling her because you think it's gonna make a difference in how she does or how she sees things, right?
Yeah, totally.
And you said she announces her last X Games, which she just had, and this is, I would assume, her last Olympics.
I would assume.
Now, have you talked to her about whether she wants to move on to like free skiing and all that kind of stuff, and like? Do you see a Logan family project, like maybe your bro films and you and
that'd be cool, man.
Right?
Yeah.
I think that'd be super cool, totally. Right? This
kind of Dev's introduction to the backcountry. That'd be fun.
Right? Has she spent much time with you? Like, does she have a sled? Has she ever gone out shooting with you?
She actually bought Parker's sled going back a couple years ago. How much she's used it, I'm not quite sure, and I haven't ever been in the backcountry with her just because. We're usually off doing our own thing, and she training
or competing, right?
Exactly.
It's amazing how it's both skiing, but they're so completely different and opposite. Like there's literally no crossover.
Yeah, between like what she's doing contests and powder stuff. Yeah,
right. Did you talk to Torrin about that when you were filming with him last year? When it's like, hey, how is this? Does he ever like tell stories about how much he loves or how much is different from when he had his competition career to like sledding, filming in the backcountry?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah? Definitely.
He opens up about it, and then do you take that and be like, hey, maybe talk to your sister and be like, hey, Torrin was telling me about this. Maybe this is some advice or some insight that you might be interested in.
I don't know if I quite did that.
Or maybe something to think about. Even maybe you don't do it, but. She don't seem like the guy that wants to give free advice.
I also like
freely gives out advice, hands out advice. Hey, you know what you should do?
There's also sometimes I need to put my foot in my mouth or shut the fuck up at times, but there's sometimes with her try to let her do her own thing. She's been doing it for so long that she knows what she's doing,
Exactly. Is it hard to realize that sometimes when you're like the big brother and you want to?
Yeah.
Yeah. You want to say something.
And that going back to my comment just before, it's like, hey Chris, shut up. She knows what she's doing. She knows what she's doing in that realm more than you know what you're talking about. So yeah, definitely. But I think she appreciates at times and takes what I'm saying, respects it, and. She knows this, I'm just trying to help her out.
This is a proud big bro.
Yeah.
But I think that would be cool. I'm hoping I can plant the seed. Just talk to your bro, who's a really amazing, filmer. Mm-hmm. And he's a good rider in his own right.
Yeah. And he was. I wish he would do a little bit more, but.
Yeah. Yeah. What's he doing nowadays?
Just all film stuff.
Still film stuff? And then, get your sister when her, competition career ends.
Yeah.
And then go out and slay the backcountry as a family and make a cool movie out of it. I think that'd be fun. I'd be the first person to put my money down and buy that ticket. I think that'd be super sick, right?
Yeah, that would be.
Right? And get
I think she's kind of hinted at that, and
that's kind of her next kind of focus. I wonder if because you've had your 20-year career of doing this, right? She's done her thing as well, and it's you're not necessarily gonna move into ski and slope or half pipe.
Not a chance to. No, that ship has sailed.
But now she has that opportunity. She's not even 30 yet, right? So she has this opportunity to move into this realm with a legend of the sport who just happens to be her bro, who will have the patience. There's a different kind of patience, right? There's a patience to like someone you don't know who comes into the backcountry. Like, what are you doing back here? Why are we with you? You shouldn't be with us. You know what I mean? There's some random dude or some random kid that wants to come in and just starts blowing it. And unless there's some kind of like contractual obligation or like a team shoot or something like that, I know you're not going to, it sounds harsh, but you're not going to spend the time. You're not going to invite this person over if they can't hang, if they're not going to handle it, unless we're on a shoot. If you're going on like a personal shoot or like you're shooting for a film or you're doing something for yourself, if someone can't cut it, you're going to be like, okay, hey, you know what? Appreciate it, but it's not going to work out, right?
Yeah, I think that just goes back to like what we were saying, like going out with the people that I want to, that I know,
exactly.
Like
exactly.
our crew.
So now with your sister coming out, right? Maybe she's not quite there yet, but then because you're your sister, this is the plan. I'm going to have a little bit more patience because I'm invested in this person, right? Like we're family. Like I want to see you succeed.
Yeah.
I have all the success. So it's different where maybe you'd be like, all right, come with us. I'm going to teach you how to do this. Rather than if someone comes in the same kind of, comes at you from the same kind of angle, but doesn't have the same relationship, you're like, no. I don't have time for this, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know. Do you think that would be like valuable for you and like as like a family bonding moment? Do you know what I mean?
It would
like,
be something, man.
Do you know what I mean?
There might be some curse words thrown at
for
one
sure.
another.
Yeah, like you maybe because obviously your brother and sister. I'm sure you've.
It would be a good learning curve, and it would be fun, man. It would be
annoying and shitty, and you probably get in each other's face because you're brother and sister. But at the end of the day, you'd be like, that was actually really rewarding.
It would be sweet to go on a trip and to be out there, with her, and if Sean were there, little family deal, and just like see her outside her comfort zone.
Yep.
And just in a different side of things, like building and hitting a backcountry jump and seeing how all that went, and
build a big old cheese wedge and be like, all right, show us what you got, girl.
Yeah, skiing some stuff. I don't know. Yeah, it would be fun.
That'd be cool. I want to see that. Hopefully, I planted the seed. I'd like to see the Logan family chronicles. Whether it could be like a web series over the winter, or like a big banger edit.
Yeah,
just fucking.
Get Parker in on it.
He's like your brother. He's a brother, right?
That's exactly.
He's like the brother from a different mother.
Get Caitlin out. Get some of the friends. Just a little spring shred. Fun.
The family. It's a family affair.
Yeah,
I love it because Caitlin, your lady, she's a gold medalist. Mm-hmm. She's retired from competition as well.
Yep.
Right, and she's moving into the same thing, but that could be a little bit different. Whereas you're like super proud and stoked to be like hanging out with your sister, but then
she would be a good in between me and Dev for sure. Like
because you got your lady too,
and
my girlfriend's gonna be with us the whole time, or my partner's gonna be with us. That's different.
And those two have been friends longer than me and Caitlin have been kicking it, so like they've known each other longer between being on the same team and doing all the competition stuff.
So that could be good too, because you could be out in the backcountry and be like, you two hang out over here, and then me and the boys are gonna go over here for a little bit.
I don't think it would be like that at all, though. No, it's all for one. So it would be. She's getting pretty good on a sled too. She's able to get around and ripping, and
All right, so we talked about this earlier tonight when we were having drinks at the bar.
Water.
Yes.
Drinking water at the bar.
Drinking water at the bar, eating wings. I remember seeing on your Instagram page that you were doing like a McDonald's ad, and I was like, say what?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, and I looked at Caitlin's, and I'm like, oh, she's got a McDonald's ad. I'm like, that's gotta be a residual or like a
yeah.
You gotta be picking up scraps on that one. Mm-hmm. So what was that all about?
I was a +1 on that deal, yeah.
Full, like you doing a McDonald's ad. I saw Tanner doing the McDonald's ad.
Yeah.
And I was like, good for you, man. Get that McDonald's money.
We didn't get that because of what I've done in skiing. We got that because of what Caitlin's
What are you talking
done in
about, man? You got that from the consistency.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, man.
So was it just like a one-off thing? Like,
yeah, exactly.
What was the whole deal? They're like, we're gonna give you cash and do it.
Some like Montana McDonald's. They were promoting something through like Montana only, and they were looking for some athletes. And
was it just one post?
Yeah, like a post and some stories or something. It was like the easiest hour of like some fake eating McDonald's that we had to do. And
fake eating McDonald's? You didn't actually get right into it?
we dabbled a bit, but like it was like, you're standing there smiling at a cheeseburger. It's like,
no, let me ask you. Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
I gotta ask you this. So, watching McDonald's commercials my whole life, I pay attention to like weird shit, and they always hold the burger with their hands in a certain way, where you like.
Yeah.
They like stand in front of the camera and they're holding the burger like this, and I'm like, never in my life have I ever held a burger like that. You just grab it and you go.
Totally.
But if you pay attention to those commercials, they're like holding like this, and it's like and they have it in the right lighting, and they're like posing with this stupid burger. I'm like, people don't eat fucking hamburgers like that. No. Did they like?
Yeah, there was a little bit of that.
Did they instruct you to do that kind of shit?
A little bit.
Was there like, was it like someone on set, and was there like lighting and like a guy?
No, it was just like email, like, hey, think about this when you're doing this, or,
Did they send you a diagram of like a hand and a burger? Just like the dimensions?
No, I don't know. There were just like some to-dos and not to-dos.
What were some of the to-dos and not to-dos?
Yeah, I can't even think at this point.
Don't have an ashtray with a half-burnt doobie on the table while you're eating.
That was, definitely in the don't do's. I don't know right offhand, but just like some like things to
just very specific
think about, and like, but yeah, man, it was not that much work, and the pay was halfway decent. So for me, it was a no-brainer. It was pretty funny seeing some of the feedback come in, like all the buddies in the
being shocked and stoked
in the ski industry. Yeah, it was a bit of both. Like all the buddies and just like ski people were just like, hell yeah, dude, get that money, and
get that McDonald's
they knew exactly
money.
what was going on, and then there were some people that got super fired up and took it like personally, or like it really offended them, because everyone on the internet's got a something to say about something, and
people were like, "Oh, McDonald's! Can't believe you're doing something with McDonald's." My mind was
they really got into the politics and the this and that of it, and it was just like the only thing that I got into it about was the money in the bank account. That's all.
You made some cash and you got some free burgers.
Yeah,
like cha-ching. Like I watched that, and I'm
money
like,
talks, man. I got goddamn rent to pay every month.
Damn straight. Like, you know what? Like, I eat McDonald's maybe 3 times a year, maybe. I'll go through a stage where I'll be like having a shitty day, or I'll be hungry. I'll be like, I don't know, after the bar, one of the handful of times I go out, and I'll be like, fuck it, I'm getting 2 double cheeseburgers. Mm-hmm. I'm going straight for it.
Yeah.
I don't care. Whatever. But, like, seeing that within our industry, like McDonald's, when have you ever seen McDonald's pay any attention to skiing? Never. 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 Yeah. So I saw that, and I was like, what? Yeah. I saw Tanner was on the same program.
T-Hall's doing this? The baddest, man?
Did you know he was on the same program, or did you see it after?
I had heard, and then I think I maybe saw it before we did ours. I was like, oh, yeah, Tanner's fucking does. He fucking knows what's up, dude.
Yeah,
like,
he's not a dumb guy.
No,
he knows where his fucking his bread gets buttered. You know what I'm saying?
Ski Boss is in? Yeah, let's go. Yeah.
I was down. And I can see.
I'm still down. If they want to come at me, dude, anybody, you want me to hold a cheeseburger?
Me too. Can you imagine Low Pressure Podcast presented by fucking the Quarter Pounder Hour with the Low Pressure Podcast? I would rebrand the whole thing. You
get some Timmy Hose or something.
Man. Tim Hortons Low Pressure Podcast. Absolutely, I'll do like a They just did like a Tim Biebs. Did you see that?
No.
Oh, so Tim.
I haven't been up here in like 2 years, man. This
is right.
Yeah.
So Justin Bieber did a deal with Tim Hortons.
That makes sense.
On like creating the little.
Drake's gonna be next.
Yeah, right. Maybe the Timbits. So he went and he created like 3 different flavors, and they called them Tim Biebs, and they did like a full
Genius.
Full commercials, full like advertising campaign. They did like merch, and people lined up and bought all the merch and sold it out. Now they're selling it. They're selling it on eBay for whatever. Fucking Tim Biebs.
He's also not an idiot. Yeah.
Anybody's listening, the Timbits are basically like donut holes. I don't know where like Does Dunkin' Donuts do it or where?
Yeah.
Donut
Munchkins.
holes. What they call them? Munchkins?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like a little mini donut circle.
Yeah.
That they call the middle.
The part of the donut that is missing.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
We call them Timbits in Canada. And like Justin Bieber did Tim Biebs.
Mm-hmm.
I like to see Logan bits.
Get at me. Let's go. Yeah.
But no, man, I thought that was fucking amazing. And that like a company like McDonald's extending into free skiing, right? So when you think of skiing other than Olympics, it's still just Olympic sports. It's like slope style, half pipe. No one gives a shit about a guy that's gonna build a cheese wedge and go throw 900 and land switch. It's the raddest thing you've ever seen. They don't give a shit. Yeah. It doesn't appeal to anybody other than like the 1,000 people that pay attention or whatever, the few thousand people that pay attention to ski, like free skiing. So I thought that was like dynamite.
Yeah, that was dope. Not too bad.
Right? And did you like stay in contact? Or you're like, hey, like.
That was kind of like a one and done.
Wow.
Yeah.
What a shame. That's awesome, but what a shame. I was really hoping to see you like represent. Like 1 week eating a quarter pounder, next week going filet-o fish.
Yeah, everyone's got their like Red Bull helmets. You got like your Monster ends.
You got the double arches?
I got the arches running. That'd be sick.
A red helmet with the...
Oh, yeah. Dude.
Would you go? Would you fully go for it?
Yeah, I would. Uh-huh. And I really don't eat the stuff. Like, I hadn't eaten in a while. Like, I kind of steer clear from it. But
from fast food in general? Or do you have like a go-to?
I try.
I'm a Wendy's guy.
Are you?
Yeah, I had to go down. I had to like last minute, 10 o'clock. I got a call and I had to drive to Squamish last night to go transfer some files. And I was like, I wasn't hungry, but I'm like, fuck it, I'm going to Wendy's. 2 double junior bacon cheeseburgers, and a car wash.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get a couple of bacon cheeseburgers. I'm gonna go across the street. I'm gonna have a car wash. I'm gonna eat my double bacon cheeseburgers in the car wash, and I'm gonna drive home. That's gonna make me feel better about myself.
And
that's usually what
make you feel better.
Yeah, it did.
It was a little gut wrench.
Oh man, that's usually how I do it. Is like I'm a emotional eater. I'm so glad I have a low metabolism, because if not, I'd be a fat bastard.
Oh, I kind of I steer clear road trips and shit. Like,
you spend so much time on the road. Like I was talking to you, like this is like your first big trip of the season, right? You said you were chilling in Montana for like at home, which was kind of nice. You were saying, and then you hop on the road, head over to Baker quickly for the night, and then quick little stop over here, and then you're going into Braylorn for this Rossi tour. And like I was talking to you, I'm like, you spend most of your winters like cruising on the road,
driving
like
around.
No real home base, living out of your truck, just kind of finding out where you can stay, where you can crash. Is that like your comfort zone? Like do you like the comfort of, obviously you like the comfort of being in one place, but is that your place? Like, is like cruising around and going from place to place and just experiencing and being kind of like a nomad more your style?
Yeah, I've definitely gotten used to it, because that's been kind of like the way winter's gone for me for as long as I can remember now. I like driving and cruising around in the truck versus like hopping on a plane, just because I can throw all my shit in there. Like I can get everything in there that I need. I usually pack up whenever we take off in the wintertime, whether it's like December, January, and just pack my truck, and I'm good to go until June, July. I have everything I need in there, and so
6
it's
months,
nice having
6 months of living on the road.
Yeah, all
because
my
you
stuff.
got everything in the house, right?
I don't travel by plane very often for skiing, or haven't really, just for a handful of reasons. But then when I do go to do that, the few times, it's like I can't bring all the things that I'm used to having. Like, I can't bring the jig and the whole like all the tools and the things. I'm like, if this breaks, if I need this, like, oh, it's in the truck, or just like, I don't know, all the things I can pack in my truck.
It's like a home on wheels. It really is.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, right?
I have it all in there.
You're basically car camping for 5 months.
Totally. And it is. I don't know. I'm just used to it by now.
So do you just keep everything in the back seat, or do you have like certain bins, or do you have it
loaded
organized, or
up
like
everywhere.
specific bags for like, this is gear bag, this is clothing bag, this is ski bag, this is my
Totally.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah.
So when you do go overseas, like you said, there's a reason that you don't fly in planes much. Are you because you're afraid of planes? Is there any reason?
No, it costs more. Usually flying, like,
yeah.
I can take the budget that I've had for the winter and stretch it out with like snowmobiling and driving around, either Western Canada or the States, and usually can stretch it out longer. So that's kind of been it. And then also just exploring some of the terrain on the West I haven't been to in the past, bunch of years I've been doing it. I don't know. Don't have to go like too far from home to find some good stuff. And then like, say it's not snowing in this one place, it doesn't take all that much to, look at the forecast and find a spot that it is better at, and that might only be an 8-hour drive or a 12-hour drive, and it's
even a 12 or 18-hour drive is still only 1 day away.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's not quite as expensive as flying, but like with Rossi, it's a French brand, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, have there ever been a lot of them being like, "Hey, come! I want you to come to Europe. We need to come to Europe." Is that when you're just like, "Well, are you gonna buy me a ticket?"
There's been some time we've definitely spent over there. It's now going back a handful of years.
When's the last time you were over there?
For like filming was probably 2013 or 2014.
Dude, that's like 8 years, 9 years,
Yeah.
7, 8 years.
For like an extended period of time, and like filming, that was probably something like that. Yeah.
Do you are you a Europe guy? Do you like being over
Europe's
there?
dope. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
I would go spend all season over there if I could and could afford it. Yeah. Europe's sick. It's nothing against Europe.
Right?
Yeah, it's dope.
It's just you've gotten into do you think you've gotten just into a groove of like what works for you?
Yeah,
and then
that
it's
might be it.
And maybe it's like, well, why do I need to go over there when I've got a good program going on?
Yeah.
I get everything I need to get done.
Totally.
Right? There's a consistency. That's the kind of the theme of the conversation. But
Yeah.
if Rossi's like, hey, come over here. Right? Are there a bunch of Rossi riders in Europe right now?
Yeah, they got
rolling?
like a European team, and so a lot of the things, if they like need stuff done, like what we do for North America.
So why don't you
they
be
have
like,
that team
hey,
there.
why don't you send me over and we'll roll with the Europeans for like the Euro shoot. We'll go and show them how.
Maybe next year.
Right?
Who knows? Yeah.
I'm gonna plant that seed. I want to see you over in Europe next year.
Mm-hmm.
Because like, there are two very different styles of riding too.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Like those guys do their thing and you guys do your thing. I'd like to see that mashup. I'd like to see maybe a couple of them come over here and you take them out. Teach them how to sled. And like I said, what I was talking about before, like, hey man, maybe you can't come along, but because it's a team thing, you're gonna come along, teach some guy how to ride a sled and build
Hang on, we'll double up.
Yeah, exactly, right.
I'll do the driving.
Yeah, as you're driving, you're just telling him how to balance himself, whatever. But having a couple of those riders come over and maybe go over there and experience, each style of riding a little better.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe you should hit that up and be like, hey, send me over.
Yeah.
Take advantage.
I know it. And talking about it too, you're like, oh man, that has been a little while. Like, overdue.
Man.
It'd be sweet. There's a handful of those spots. There's only so much time and things, and you're just like, there's a lot of places I'd like to go either for the first time or back to.
Like where?
Japan. It'd be sweet to go back there. I've
So you've never been to Japan?
I've been once. Going back probably like 10 or 11 years ago, like right as I was kind of starting to ski POW, and so it'd be sweet like being a lot better at it than I was then, fair. Going over there and experiencing that again. And
we were talking about that earlier today. Is like Douglas was saying is like his buddy was telling him they got 1,000 centimeters.
Yeah.
They
That's
got 10.
awesome.
They got 10 meters of snow in 5 weeks. 30 feet of snow, apparently breaking records, and there's nobody there to ski it right now. Just the people that live there are like, ha ha ha.
Those dudes are stoked. Yeah, following like Kazu, the snowboarder, seeing him just riding up, you're like, hell yeah.
Oh man, like the
That
dudes.
is
I'm
dope.
gonna. I think that's a good idea. I can maybe contact some of the crew, like the guys over at Hokkaido Backcountry Club, and then my buddy Jackie, who was actually on the show. I think when I went to Japan back in 2000, whatever it was, 15. He was a roommate of mine in like one street over from where I live now, like 2003. Then went and met up with him, and we've met up a few times. But I should probably hit him up and be like, "How's it over there? Maybe I can go over and like quarantine for 2 weeks. I'll deal with it.
Yeah,
just get some work done, read some books, do
Eat a
some
bunch of
squats in the hotel
sushi
room,
and ramen, and
just get some sushi and ramen delivered to the hotel." To be honest, I could stay in a hotel room for 2 weeks. No big deal. When the pandemic hit, my life really didn't change much. Like I'm a dude. I live by myself. I spend a lot of time at home.
Yeah.
Working on the computer, reading books, watching hockey games.
Yeah.
I walk my dog. I don't go to the bar much. So when the pandemic hit, I was like, "Yeah, sweet. Everybody's living my life now. No big deal." So I could go over there, spend 2 weeks. I could get so much shit done because I'd be forced in there. Be like, cool, I have 2 weeks focusing and getting all this crap done. I'd get so far ahead, and then my legs would be strong as shit. I'd be flexible as shit, and it would be like, all right, neck deep, pal, let's go.
Yeah.
Anyways,
that'd be awesome.
That's the dream. Maybe next year. But as I was joking, fall 2023, everybody next year is gonna be like, oh, Japan's open. It's gonna be like every single movie's gonna have a Japan segment. You're gonna see some guy sending some like air to hit some little dongle tree, but if you look way in the background, you see like another crew doing the same thing.
Oh yeah.
We'll see. I don't know. It'll be cool. It'll be cool though.
Yeah.
Where else other than Japan? Where else would kind of be on your? Is there anywhere that you've been like, oh, that's kind of cool. Maybe I'm interested in that.
I mean, we had kind of chatted a little bit earlier. It'd be sweet to get over to like in Australia and in New Zealand. Check it out over there. I've just heard awesome things from friends and Dev and Caitlin going there and doing some riding. So it'd be sweet going over there. It'd be really cool to head down to South America and do some skiing down there.
I'm hoping to go this upcoming year.
Yeah,
potentially. I think a lot of the good way to do it is there's a lot of like group travel trips. People will like find an athlete like yourself.
Yeah. And
they'll be like, hey, come down to Portillo for a week and ski with Chris Logan, and it's going to cost you this much, and we're going to pay for your tickets and pay for your lodging. And you can get to ski with a pro and blah blah blah. And that's kind of the draw. Like a good friend of mine, Rachel, hosts You Thrive camps, and she's done with like Ian McIntosh, Lindsay Dyer. Like in Japan, I went to one with Johnny Collinson in France. Like for a week before like a free ride world tour. I was like, oh, I'm coming. I'm gonna meet you. I'm gonna go free ride tour afterwards. Sick. So that could be a good opportunity too, and just be like, hey, look, like I'm down. Because in the biking world, mountain biking and skiing, there's so many of these companies that are popping up that want to leverage your name and your reputation and say, hey, come and ski with CeeLo for a week in fucking Argentina.
Yeah.
I'm gonna hook you up. I'm gonna give you some information, people you need to talk to.
Love it. Yeah.
And I'm coming on that trip. I'll be like, hey, I'm setting this up. I'm coming down. We're gonna go skiing, meet some cool people, and then I'm gonna hang. This is a good time. But I think that's kind of like a really cool thing. As I know, RMU here in town, where we were having beers earlier, they actually have a lodge in Whistler called the Sitka Lodge. that you can rent out through like Airbnb. I think you can rent them if you call them directly. And I was talking to Rachel. I was like, hey, you should do one of those camps at the RMU Lodge. And when we were in France, it was, stayed in the lodge. They had a breakfast for us ready to go. We would have lunch on the hill. They'd have dinner.
Yeah.
Hot tub, do whatever, like drive us to and from. Like all the basic things you need on a vacation you don't want to think about. And then you get to hang out with a bunch of other people that are super passionate about skiers. And then this big name athlete that you recognize, you can watch on films.
Yeah.
Consistency.
Yeah. Yeah, totally.
That could be a cool way to go forward. I'm gonna put you in contact.
Check out some new places.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And then it's good for you guys too, because like you're gonna get paid to do it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get paid to go to Argentina. Absolutely, I'm down.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. So I'm kind of hoping to maybe see if she's doing one of those trips this year to Argentina.
Perfect.
I know.
Let's talk.
Yeah, let's chat. I know. IF3 Festival, film festival. They've got IF3 Chile, and they have a really awesome, like really, really engaged fan base for their ski product, and they just started doing a bike product. So I'm like, it's one of those things I've always wanted to do. I've never been down either.
Yeah.
So I'm on it. I'm gonna call you up and be like, CeeLo, let's make it happen.
Yeah.
Let's go. Argentina. Anywhere else? Like anywhere that you've been like?
Dude, yeah. The list goes on.
Yeah.
Totally. There's so many places that, I haven't been that I would love to go check out. Yeah. I don't know. We'll talk to your friend.
Yeah, right. I don't know. Well, we'll see how it goes. Right?
Yeah.
In the meantime, just fucking do what you know.
Yeah.
And that seems to be the best way to do things is just, cruise along and take advantage of opportunities, right?
Yeah.
All right. You were talking about fishing earlier.
Mm-hmm.
So I had Tatum on a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
And she got really into fishing for roosterfish. She had this really amazing story about fishing for roosterfish off the beach. And then a fishing for marlin story.
Yeah.
And you mentioned it a couple times that you're a fisherman as well. Just standing on the beach, standing in the river. Are you just more fly fishing? Just more of a...
Yeah, compared to Tatum, I am like...
I'm not comparing you to anybody. I just want to know if it's something you enjoy to do.
I enjoy it. I'm new to it, so I'm like... I don't know a lot about it. I'm trying to learn, trying to get better. I got a bunch of buddies at home who grew up fishing.
So is this something you've learned in the last few years? Just picked up?
Yeah.
See, this is what I'm interested in. I don't want to know if you're the best in the world at it. I want to learn what...
That's good, because I am not. Yeah.
I want to know what the learning process is, man. Like, because you mentioned it a few times. I'm like, oh, this dude's actually kind of stoked on this, and that's something that you're going to... Something that, like, as you learn to do stuff, that's when the most people are most fired up. Like, how did you get into it?
Just moving to Montana.
You moved to Montana because you were with your lady, and that's where you guys decided you were going to settle?
We found Montana, and there's just a lot of fun activities, outdoor activities to do there that, I never had the chance to do growing up. We had touched on it the last time. I'm from Long Island, New York. We'd go to the beach. I did a little fishing growing up, but it wasn't like we didn't have like where I was at, like a lot of water or like rivers around, or it's just like different style.
Just
I guess
throwing the fucking line off of the pier or off the beach kind of thing.
Yeah, we'd like do like the family one day a summer like charter boat kind of deal, and like we're dropping the line, but never fly fishing, hadn't really gotten into that, and had some good friends who in Montana have grown up doing it and are big into it. So just kind of, there's some water around there.
So one day you're just like, I want to come. I want to do this.
Yeah, totally. Just meeting friends there who that's like what they do, and go and do it. It's like if you go to Pemby and you meet and become friends with Tatum, like she's like, yeah, I'm going fishing. Where you want to come? You want to hang out? And just like one thing leads to another.
I wonder if it's like a mirror. Remember I was talking about having someone come with you to go sledding in the backcountry?
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if it's like hey, this random guy doesn't know what he's doing, fly fishing. All right, come with. We'll teach you how to go.
Oh yeah, I'm sure it's like in its own right. It's like
it's the same shit.
I couldn't tie a fly. I couldn't like it was all brand new to me. Do
you tie flies now?
Yeah, not pretty, but
you learned how to tie it though.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah, I catch some fish.
That's some next level stuff.
I try,
learning
man.
how to tie flies.
I try. It's fun, and yeah, it's something you can do, forever. It seems like so.
So do you know?
Like
do you have
easy on the body?
Do you have
it's
like
nice.
specific spots on the river that you go, and like can you like how long did it take you to learn how to cast properly?
We ended up picking up a raft off a friend of a friend last spring, and so we've had like 2 summers of like getting the raft out on the water and just fishing and going out with some buddies and just figuring it out, going out and with friends who know how to do it and just asking a bunch of questions and trial and error. And it's not pretty. It's hopefully is getting better as you go, and that's kind of learning. So
what do you like
there's
about it?
There's been a lot of that.
What is it that like made you be like, why did you like, I'm gonna fish instead of like mountain bike or go like
I try to do
camping.
a little bit of everything, do a little biking, a little hiking. Like if I said it was like, people are like, oh, this is so relaxing, this is so like, dude, there's times I go out there, it's windy, I'm just fumbling. Like it is. There's times it's not relaxing. I'm just like I'm fucking cursing. I'm sitting in the back of the boat. I can't like do anything right. I'm getting tangled. I'm losing flies. Like, oh, it's so relaxing. Like, no, I'm fucking back there. Like, all right, Chris, breathe. It's gonna be okay. But then no, it is like just getting out on the water is something that's new to me, and it can be relaxing, or just the environment, like surround yourself, like coming down this cool river with like mountains on both sides, and like there's no one except for the crew you're with kind of in sight. It's just kind
of mirrors your winter life.
It's cool. Yeah,
it's like a summer version. It's like a
getting away, and
it's like let's getting into the backcountry and get into a place where I'm comfortable.
Yeah,
but in the summer
it's like hunting too, the past same sort of deal, like moving to Montana, going out in the falls and not going back a handful of years, not knowing a thing, but just having buddies who grew up doing it, and same sort of deal, just like picking their brain and learning and trying to get better. I was going to ask you about that
because I have to tell you, I got to thank you.
Yeah,
you brought me some deer, some venison.
Yeah,
you put in the freezer.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I didn't know if it was frozen or what we're going to do. I was like, oh, are we going to make this for dinner tonight? I'm like, I was looking up like venison, like blueberry compotes to go with it. I was looking at recipes, man. I was ready to go.
Yeah.
And he's like, all right, got it. It's frozen. We'll put it in the fridge. I'm like, all right, cool. Maybe we'll save it. But I'm going to do something with that.
Sick.
But like so obviously you said from New York. I know in some of those like eastern states, they have like deer problems. Mm-hmm. Like overwhelming deer problems. Did you learn to hunt over there, or was it like something you did over here? No. And was it specifically like I want to harvest my own food? Was that kind of the goal?
Yeah, I mean I'm from Long Island, and so like people don't have guns. If you have guns, that's a problem back there.
If you got a gun, it's a handgun, and it's just protect my family.
Yeah, it's different style, but. Yeah, just going back a handful of years. It's actually our good buddy Taylor, who grew up with Wiley Miller. They grew up in Billings, and he grew up hunting, and that's like my first real like time remembering like meeting him. And we were in Utah doing a trip, and he's like, "You guys, I'd love to cook you dinner." I think Friedel was living there at the time with them. He had like bunch of, I think he had some elk. He like had us all over, made elk burgers, and was just like, oh, this is awesome. And then me and him became good buddies, just through Wiley and other buddies, and then like when Parker moved to Montana, those dudes were hunting together a bunch, and I was always on the tail end, or just like being in that place. After they would do a season hunt and being able to eat this meat that they had harvested, and just like, dude, this is really awesome, and just like pick their brains for years before I moved there myself, of just like, everything, just how it all works. And then, you know, my first year or two, just going out with him and having him just like fully show me the ropes. And
it's a lot of walking and doing nothing for one moment of energy and action out of like weeks and weeks of just chilling in the woods.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of time put in, a lot of time that, you're walking, you're not seeing anything, and you're just trying to figure out a plan and go to a certain spot. And then, over the past couple of years, just kind of getting a bit better at it myself, to the point where, like, now I can go out, you know, either on my own or, you know, like going with buddies, and together we just like go walk around and try to figure it out. But I really enjoy it, man. And
the act of actual, like, people like hunting, they like people that don't understand hunting, like hunters understand it's not, I'm not going to go kill something, it's part of the activity, it's all of it. It's like being outside, it's looking for something, it's putting in the work, it's harvesting my own food, it's all that sort of stuff. You know what I mean? It's like there's so much involved in it for people that don't understand hunting and see it as a negative. Right? Like, oh, you're just gonna go and kill something, that's, you know, whatever. But like, I was kind of in that point of view for a long time. I didn't grow up in the city, you know, eat my beef and eat whatever at the grocery store. You know, the cow that had a pneumatic fucking thing in its brain and killed it and whatever, and I never thought about that kind of stuff, right? And in the last bunch of years, I'm like, well, if you're gonna go and harvest your own food and humanely harvest, I'm gonna use the word harvest because that's basically what it is.
That's exactly,
right? And something that hasn't been fed hormones, that hasn't been gone through the commercial rigmarole of raising this food, like, my point of view has changed. I personally don't know if I could. I could. I don't know. I personally don't know how I'd feel like pulling a trigger and killing something yet. But I understand it and I appreciate it, and I think it's more of a sustainable, I think it's a better way than the way I get my beef from the grocery store. You know, so I've been kind of playing with that myself. It's like, maybe I could jump on that. Maybe I could do that. Maybe I couldn't. I don't know. But in the meantime, if someone wants to bring some deer to my house, I'm going to cook it for you. I'm going to eat it.
Everyone's allowed to do whatever they want, man.
Whatever they want, right?
Feel however you want about
And it's just a matter of how you feel in your own head and how you perceive it. And
to me, you know, and I go out and do the whole process, and we do all the...
Do you take it to a butcher, or did you learn how to do it yourself?
No, we do it all.
Like hang it in the garage and all that kind of stuff?
Hang it.
How was that? The first time you did that, where you're like, oh my God, what is happening?
Yeah, it's interesting, man.
It's interesting.
It takes a little bit, for sure.
Is it overwhelming?
Just the whole process. There's a lot of steps like that go into it, and getting used to it, and some of the smells and some of the, you know, blood and this and that, and
smells and some of the experiences and what it looks like. And
but then, like, at the end of the day, you process it all. You know, you're grinding it up, you're packaging it up, you're pulling it out of the freezer and cooking this meat for your friends and family and loved ones, and everyone's being fed off of like your hard work, and
you knew where it came from.
Exactly.
Do you have a moment where, I know, like, you know, a lot of like native cultures, they, you know, respect it, they'll put little offering down. When the first time that you know, caught a deer, what was that like? Were you like, what was that feeling like? Were you like, was this exciting? I'm like sad that I killed this thing, but at the same time it's going to nourish me and my family. Like, what was that like? There's
a handful of different emotions. Yeah. You know, it's, there's a little bit of all of them. You know, I think what I did and what I try to do throughout the years that I have hunted is just like, you know, take a second and just like, thank you. They are beautiful animals, and thank you, and I'm, you know, you're helping feed me and so many, and just appreciative, and yeah.
It's an interesting topic to touch on, right? Because everybody has their own personal opinions and views on that sort of thing, and like I said, my personal view over the last, I don't know, half a decade or so has completely shifted. We're like, oh, hunting, why would you kill anything? To like, oh no, I get it. To a point where like, if someone invited me to go hunting, I would go, but I'm not going to go out of my way to do it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But if I'm there, I'm like, yeah, okay, I think I'm ready.
Yeah.
Because it's your heart, like I said, when it comes to feeding yourself, where the food is coming. I would rather eat a deer that I took myself and knew and, accepted what happened, appreciated it, gave it its respect, knew where it came from. I would rather eat that all winter than go to Costco and buy a loin of something or some ground beef or whatever from some farm. Personally, right?
Yeah, I haven't bought beef in a while.
It's exactly. It's interesting, and then there's people listening like, hey, you should just go veggie. I eat a veggie meal 2 or 3 times. I eat a veggie meal 2 or 3 times a week for sure as well. But it's interesting. I don't want to get too deep into that stuff.
I know, and you're allowed to have whatever opinion you want on it. You can feel how you feel, and you're not wrong if that's how you feel.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Yeah,
but it's like,
do what's right for you.
Do what's right for you, man.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm gonna tell you this.
I'm not gonna try to sit you down if you're not into it, and like tell you like that's fine. If you don't, then don't. Absolutely. Man. I'm
gonna tell you this though. I'm gonna cook this shit out of that lamb that you brought me as a gift. I think it's fantastic. Yeah, absolutely. And I think you guys are going on that Rossi trip. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna cook the shit out of that lamb.
Killer.
And there may be some I'm going to put in a freezer. I'll be like, I need you to taste this shit, so you need to swing back through Whistler. And I'd be like, here's a Tupperware for you to take, or I'm just going to fire it up for you.
Brought a bunch. Brought some burger that we ground up. Got some steaks.
Right? And you're taking it.
We got a little bit.
Taking it on the road, too. I love it.
Yeah. Feed the friends. And we ended up getting some summer sausage and breakfast sausage made up.
Did you make the sausage yourself, too?
We did not this year. Yeah. I know Caitlin wants to kind of get into some of that. We ended up dropping it off at this place up the road from us that does some good work. We get a bit of their bacon. They're local, and it's really good. And they do all sorts of stuff with it. And so we tried it out for the first time this year, and it's pretty good.
It's funny, eh? New York raised, but who knew you were a Montana boy? Mm-hmm. Fit right in. Yeah. Right on, man. Well, we're kind of going on long here. We should probably turn these off. And then...
I felt like we've talked for a while, but we haven't, like... We've just been jabbing for like
that's the whole point, right? What do you want to get into? Let's go.
There's nothing specifically. I'm just saying, like,
tune in for part 2.
That's just what happens when we kick it for like 4 hours before we like turn the microphones on.
I know there's things that I was like, I'm not gonna say this. I'm not like, so whenever sometimes I know I'm gonna get someone on the podcast, I'm like, I'm not going to talk to them. I'm not going to ask them. I'm not going to bring this up. I'm not going to ask them about this because I don't want to ruin it. I want to bring it up fresh. And then halfway through, I'm like, fuck it. Let's just... Yeah. It can't be weird. Whatever. It is what it is, man. Yeah. We're going to turn these off.
We said this was trial. This thing, it doesn't even matter anyway, right? This is just practice. It's just for you.
This is practice. Yeah. I'm going to put this out as practice.
Just practice.
This is practice, man. We're talking about practice.
It's just a Thursday night. Yeah.
It is. Is it Thursday?
I think so.
It is Thursday. Yeah. Whatever. We're going to turn this off. We're probably going to drink, keep shooting this shit for another couple of hours. Yeah. You know what we should do? We should make a stew.
You should, man.
Little crock-pot stew. Where's Friedel? Friedel's on his way up. So you're on your way to Braylord, and Friedel, you stopped out of his place in Baker, and you're telling me that he's kind of on his own program. So you drove up, and he was going to follow you up, and he's on his way here, or what?
Yeah. Well, I drove over to Friedel's from Montana yesterday, so I was just already packed up and good to go. I didn't, need to do anything, and he was getting his stuff all situated today, so I just cruised up, figured come kick with you for a little bit and give him his space to get ready, and
he's on his way.
Yeah. I mean, I was sitting in the car for like 11 hours yesterday. I didn't need to like
spend more time chilling out watching him back.
Yeah, just get there and hang out. And
Right on, man. Well, sweet. I'm stoked you came by. Good to hang out with you again,
Thanks
man.
for having me again.
And I'm sure we'll turn this off and crack another beer.
Sounds good.
Cheers, buddy.
You bet.
You've been listening to the Low Pressure Podcast, the podcast for skiers. This has been a Red Mark Media production.